Well, look who's back. It's the classic, iconic, modernized, electrified Volkswagen Bus. It's the ID Buzz. So there's a lot to go through, and I know I'm not the first one to cover this, and probably not the last one. And I know the first drive happened in October. It was supposed to be on that, wasn't for some logistical reasons, but let's have a quick chat about it right now. There's a lot to go through. There's a 91 kilowatt per hour battery on the gross size. The actual usable portion of that is 86. The rear wheel drive gets up to 377 kilometers of range. And if you opt for the all-wheel drive, it goes down by 5 kilometers, so you get 372, which is a pretty good trade-off. Now, power-wise, the rear-wheel drive gets 282 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. Opt for the all-wheel drive, and that bumps you up to 335 horsepower and 512 pound-feet of torque. You can get it in either 6 or 7 seats for the configuration. All-wheel drive getting the 6 seats, and the front-wheel drive getting the 7 seats. On the charging side, speeds go up to 200 kilowatts, so a pretty good acceptance rate. I don't think it really needs the 300 or 350 because those kind of chargers are pretty far and few between. Let's start off with the perk side of things, and visibility and windows are at the top. And again, the windshield is massive. The windows in the A-pillar are massive, and the rear window is just huge. It's a great and refreshing way to design a vehicle with so much visibility. Lots of light coming into the cabin as well. The massive panoramic sunroof you see, it's an optional feature, and it's only one of 2 options spec'd here, with the two-tone paint being the other. Let's jump into the sunroof portion now. So it's fixed, but it's got the opaque feature to it, kind of like the old Venza did, and some of the newer Porsches. So that's the opaque, little swipe. So I'm a big fan of sunroofs. I like natural light. So again, windows, visibility, 10 out of 10. There are so many storage bins all over the vehicle, a lot of them in the front. So you get your cup holders that come out. There is a little drawer that comes out of the center bin, which is actually movable. You get a lot of space on the top of the adjustable box as well, and you can adjust the different dividers. There's spots on the bottom of the doors, in the middle of the doors. There's a shelf in front of your passenger. There's another little bin at the back of this center box. So no reason to say, oh, I got nowhere to put my small bits and stuff of things and whatever. There's a space for everything. For 2025, there is only one version, and it's their first edition. Again, either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and it has everything except the panoramic sunroof. So you get your heated seats, your cooled seats, your premium audio system, these wonderfully comfortable seats, all the safety features. For being a 3-row minivan, crossover vehicle, transporter, bus, buzz thing, whatever it is you choose to call it, it drives surprisingly well. And the seating position is extremely high. Volkswagen says this offers the highest seating position of anything in its lineup currently. So I get a great view of the road, thanks to, again, to those massive windows and high quantity of windows. But it drives pretty well, and it stays relatively flat. And yes, there's going to be that instant torque and the initial burst of power, which is good, great, fine, whatever. I don't think you're buying this specific EV for its performance capabilities. But I will say it's a fairly quiet ride. Handling is as good as it can get for something for this length, this height, and this weight. Steph and I did a road trip out to the Thousand Islands area, so about 750-ish kilometers round trip. And her impressions are the same. It's really good to drive. She felt really comfortable. Given the dimensions and the power plant that's here, I'm pretty impressed with the drive feel here. By 2025 standards, the instrument cluster is tiny, and I'm a fan of it because it proves that you don't need massive screens, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16-inch screens for the instrument cluster. This is tiny. It has it all. You can play with it a couple of different ways, but all your essentials are here. Yes, there's a head-up display that comes along with the ID Buzz, but maybe we're going to start trending the other way. Contrast that with the larger infotainment system, which is fine, pretty easy to use. It's a nice balance that Volkswagen's created here. For the past 2 weeks of driving this, I've been looked at and gawked at and approached and giving a thumbs up and giving quizzical looks. Because yes, a lot of people know about the Volkswagen ID Buzz. I don't know how many people know it's actually available and on the streets right now. So when they see one, it's oh, hey, that's kind of cool. I've only seen that in commercials. So the captivating looks of the Buzz itself, definite perk. Last up on the perk side are these sliding doors, and basically this is a minivan. You don't get them dinged, it's easier to get in, it's easier to get out, it's easier to load things, and there is just so much logic to sliding doors that it still makes me sad that minivans are nearly extinct. Last touch on the exterior, I promise. The front end light design looks so good. The logo lights up, there's a light bar. The lights are minimal, it's not overwhelming, and I think it's a really nice and clean design here. Onto the quirks we go, and the biggest quirk is the entire vehicle itself. Volkswagen pulling on those retro heartstrings and bringing this back. The whole thing's a quirk. It is, and I think it's really cool the way that they've done that. Next up are the rear windows, and they're a small little square instead of the traditional windows that go down all the way. To open the windows, I've got to hit the word rear on my window switch control, and then I can retract them. They don't go down, they go backwards that way. You'll see on the cutaway. But it's kind of interesting. It's a pretty small piece of moving window, given the overall size of the glass itself back there. There is no engine, but there's kind of a hood, but it lowers down, and I did a social media quick hit on it, and people just loved it. And it's a quirky thing, and it's held not together, but it stops from going all the way down by this little strap. So good job, strap, on carrying the weight of that little hood that falls downward. The pedals have a play and pause button on them. The play is the accelerator and the pause is the brake pedal. I briefly touched on the removable and reversible center console box. I'll touch on it again. It's a really cool move, and you don't see that very often. Some manufacturers have it where you can slide it forwards and backwards a few inches, but this completely comes out if you want extra space in the middle for whatever it is. And it's reversible, so if you want your rear passengers to have the comforts of what you have up front, you definitely have that as well. There are 3 USB ports. 2 are very close to the steering wheel, and nothing's in the middle. And the third one is on the door panel for the passenger. And that's an awesome move, because you don't have to have them reaching over across the infotainment system and closer to me to get their stuff plugged or unplugged. And I don't think I've seen USB ports on a door panel before. Last quirk is a piece of recent news. It's the end of May when I'm recording this. And there have been a few articles and reports saying that Volkswagen is going to move away from the ID prefix for their EVs and give them more traditional names. The driver has 3 different places to put their left arm. You can put it up here on the sill. There is a dedicated armrest right here as well, which is really wide and the most comforting of the 3. And there is a retractable armrest that comes down as well. And sure, that'll be cool when you're actually in motion, but it makes it really hard to get in and out of the vehicle because it kind of just juts out and sticks out. 2 more quirks, and they have to do with starting the vehicle. One is there's a start-stop button on the steering column, but it says engine. And there's clearly no engine in an EV. I think they just pulled it out of a different Volkswagen vehicle and just slapped it on there. And the second is you can either push that or you just push the brake pedal, and that's how the vehicle comes to life. On to the Irks side of things. Steering wheel controls are very finicky, specifically the Seek track. Now I use Apple CarPlay, and every time I want to change tracks to the steering wheel, and I've tried a bunch of different pressure points, the majority of the time I'm pushing the next track button and it just skips ahead 10 seconds. So I've got to be extra precise with how and where I push that Seek track button. Next up is that there are no physical dials or controls here at all. The big drawback with that for me is that the HVAC system is all based off the screen. Yes, it's a fixed bar at the bottom, which is nice, but I hope this trend of embedding HVAC and climate controls into a screen ends really soon. Next irk is that it's a little challenging to get into the front seats in the ID Buzz. That's because there's a lot of space between where you initially just put your foot up and pull yourself in, but it's such a wide amount of the floorboard that you've got to put your right foot in and then duck your head down, but pull yourself up and slide yourself over. Not really the most user-friendly way of doing it. Wiper controls are over-engineered because the front wipers, the rear wipers, your turn signals, and your high beams are all jammed into the stalk on the left side of the steering wheel. The stalk on the right is only for your gear selector, and you'll get used to it over time, but just trying to navigate that through a rainy May here in Mississauga just became a little cumbersome. Speaking of wipers, they go outwards as opposed to from the bottom right up to the top left, like traditional wipers do. So the drawback for that is you always have that little streak going straight down the middle of your windshield. And the last irk is there's only one type of regen, and it's not quite one pedal driving. You either put the vehicle in D for drive or B for brake, and I'm doing 50 kilometers. I want to take my foot off the brake. Keep your eyes out here for a moment. So it does slow down fairly quickly, and again, it's not a full one pedal driving system. On the pricing side of things, I got my trusty sheet here with all my numbers. So for Canadian MSRP figures $77,495 for the rear wheel drive. You tack on another $5,500 to that, brings it up to $82,995 for the all wheel drive version. Now keep in mind with the all wheel drive version, you only lose 5 kilometers of range. You got a lot more torque, 99 pound-feet to be specific, and you get more horsepower and you get more fun and things. So depending on what you want versus what you need out of your ID Buzz, might be worth it to spend that extra $5,500. You want the sunroof, $2,000 is going to be the option sheet fee for that. And if you want the two-tone color like we have here, another $1,500. On the competition side, we have the Ioniq 9, and its top trim being the calligraphy comes in at $81,499, which is just a touch under this, but you get 500 kilometers of range, which is more than the 372 you get here. You also have the Kia EV9, $79,495 in its highest iteration. Range is a little lower, well, a lot lower at 435 kilometers. So I think those are the two key ones. And yes, there's the Rivian R1S, but the pricing there, $144,900 to $186,900. So there is a huge gap, almost double in some cases. That's going to wrap it up for the 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz First Edition. Let me know if you have any questions on what you've seen. I'm happy to get you answers as soon as possible. I invite you to join our social media platforms. We are on all of the major ones. Without you, there is no modern motoring. So I thank you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.